Hello, and welcome back to my Dear Lovely Universe podcast. I'm here today with Inde. I met Inde when we were going to Redondo Union High School together. We met in gym class. She's a really, really smart, really pretty girl, really ambitious.
Oh, thank you.
And so here's Inde.
Hello, hello, hello.
So Inde,
Yes.
what does body image mean to you?
Body image means to me the way that you see yourself, not necessarily how you want others to perceive you, but how you want to perceive yourself. Because in a world like this, it's very easy to get caught up in the ways of how, I guess this word is thrown around, but society sees you.
Mm-hmm.
And I never was super insecure, about my skin or the way that I looked or what body shape I had until we started going to Redondo Union. And I think body image is just important for people to have, but not to have the perception that other people's opinions matter on the way that you look.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Having other people, caring about what other people's opinions are on the way that you look can be really, really challenging for someone, especially in high school.
Yes.
I think what body image means to me is also how you perceive yourself. It could be how you feel like other people are seeing you, or also how you see yourself.
Yes.
I think body image has a lot to do with your self-esteem, your self-confidence, how you view the world. I think that how you view yourself has everything to do with pretty much your life.
Yes.
So, could you give me an example of a body image challenge that you've dealt with?
Me personally, I've never had a problem with any other part of my body other than my I guess you could say like my torso. For me, I've always seen women with really tight stomachs or very, very skinny people. And I remember being in a house in a cul-de-sac and one of the neighbors had a very, very tiny petite body. And I remember one day overhearing her mom saying, "Don't let her borrow your stuff, she'll stretch it." And to me, it was kind of just like I liked borrowing her clothing because her parents were able to supply a lot of clothing and mine were not. So her shit was better than mine. So, of course, I'd want to borrow her Lululemon leggings and her other stuff and her Victoria's Secret sweatpants. But to me, it was just borrowing clothing. But to her mom, I was deemed as a more curvaceous girl wearing her daughter's clothing.
Yeah.
And I'm a Latina, so I do have curves, and to me, as I'm starting to get older, I appreciate them a lot more. But in high school, and still now, every now and again, I don't like that about myself. So having a little bit of a tummy and having a little bit of a butt and boobs to me was just, I deemed that as fat in a way, even though it's not, and I'm very petite, but I see myself as that. And I guess you could say that it's a form of body dysmorphia, but I don't like labeling it as that. But my first experience was that was actually in middle school, so I guess you could say that was my first experience. But my first real sat down with myself in the mirror crying kind of experience was homecoming. I think it was either my junior year or my sophomore year of high school. And I was telling you this on the phone, and I went over to this girl's house, and I was in a friend group, and they were all really, really petite. Like, I'm tiny, but they were very, very tiny. And I remember trying on one of their dresses, and I could not fit. And to me, it was kind of just not necessarily like, oh, I can't fit, I'm too fat. It was just like, oh, she's not my size. And then I tried on another dress and it wouldn't fit. And then I just remember not feeling good. And just, whenever your body gets really, really hot, whenever you're anxious, or maybe that's just me, but whenever I get anxiety or I feel embarrassed, I get really hot, my cheeks get really red. And I just remember just being completely mortified. And so I put on heels and a sweatshirt and I went to that dance in a sweatshirt and I rocked the fuck out of it. But it just, even though I wore it and I was confident in what I was wearing, whenever I got home and really assessed the situation that I was in, that whole day I didn't drink. I didn't eat anything to fit into one of their dresses. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I still couldn't, I was kind of like, this isn't my size, but still in the back of my mind, it was like, I didn't eat all day. Yeah. I still couldn't fit in this dress. So I guess you could say that was one of the biggest challenge that I had. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Well, first off, I can definitely see how that could be mortifying. Even though it's not has nothing really to do with you, more so just like their clothing size. It's just how it happened, and I could totally see how that...
And being in high school, and it's a group of girls, and you want to fit in, and...
Especially, I don't know if this is the case with you too, but in my experience, when I have a friend, and we become like really good friends, I think they're really beautiful. Like... Mm-hmm. Not in like a lesbian way, but I just think that they're really beautiful. And so if I wouldn't be able to fit in their clothes and I just like thought they were really beautiful, like maybe their standard of beauty was like more beautiful than mine, or something like that, So I could definitely see where that could come into play.
And it just sucked because like not being able to fit in those clothes, and it was very much so like seeing not necessarily these girls, but just girls on Instagram wearing the really tight clothing and the really bodycon dresses. And to me, in a future podcast we can talk about this, but I've had experiences in my life where I have been through things where I see my body wasn't necessarily mine anymore. And I would just constantly wear baggy clothing. I'd go to football games in sweatpants and sweatshirts, and I just told everybody, like, I didn't give a shit. But in all reality, I did not want to show off my body at all. Like, I just wanted to be comfortable in the situation that I was, because I was already uncomfortable within myself. So I would want to comfort my own body, I guess you could say, physically with comfortable clothing. Mm-hmm. And wearing tight dresses when I tried to pop out of, I guess you could say, that shell, being extremely vulnerable in that situation, and then having it not fit was just the worst thing imaginable. And especially for a very young girl going through high school and just trying to fit in.
Yeah. Because I think it's a good point to bring up, like, being a young girl going through high school trying to fit in. That's something, like, we could talk about forever.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's so many stories about trying to fit in.
But I think the main thing that it comes down to is loving yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, being in high school, some people, the very fortunate ones, they know themselves. Yeah. But I feel like a vast majority of people don't quite know themselves yet.
But even those people have doubts.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting, is I'm starting to find this out, talking to more people and opening up about myself, was I kind of wanted to have this, I guess you could say, bad bitch mentality of, like, whatever, screw it. Like, if I just have, like, this fake confidence, then it's fine. But I broke my wall down and was opening up to some girls that I had just recently met, and even boys. And they were like, no, like, I see myself as this. And I was talking to a guy, and he would talk about how he needed to get bigger. And I was like, he was huge. I didn't know how else to describe it. This man was huge. And, well, not huge, but, like, he was very, very built. Like, he was, oh my God. And he would just talk about how tiny he was. And it's so interesting to me, because I've never seen boys talk about themselves in that manner. Or, like, I'm too skinny, I've seen bigger kids saying, like, I need to lose weight, but I've never really heard a person say, especially a guy, be like, I really need to gain weight. Or if they are bigger, have the body dysmorphia mentality of, I'm tiny.
I think wow. That's a good point to bring up, with that people oftentimes are just not comfortable with themselves in whatever state they are. Like, people will often just want to be whatever they're not. So if someone is bigger and they see someone who's smaller, they might want to be smaller. If someone is smaller and they see someone who's bigger, then they would want to be bigger. Yeah. And it's just like, this goes back again to loving yourself.
Yes, because you can only see, if you see yourself through other people's eyes, it's so interesting, because I went through a phase where I was really, really depressed a couple months ago. And I was filming this short film called BFFs. And there was one of the boys on set. And I thought he was really attractive, but I never in a million years did I think he would think, like, I was cute. He was older. He was... I'm gonna say it. I don't know if he hears this, but he was Italian, and you know who I'm talking about. If you're listening to this, you know. But he was beautiful, and we sat down one day after, like, we had wrapped, and it was like the wrap party, and he goes, "You are just so damn beautiful." And I was like, "Whoa. Hi, hello, how are you?" And he was telling me about how when he first saw me in the audition, and then when he saw me when we were doing the table read and everything like that, and character chemistry, that he just thought I was so gorgeous and beautiful, and I didn't see myself that way because I was so depressed and seeing myself as needing to be like the Instagram girls who Facetune themselves. Not shaming that, but I'm just saying that's putting unrealistic expectations out there for the rest of us. So, looking at that, I deemed my beauties based off of those when that's not even them realistically.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's crazy to think about it, that if you're looking at Instagram and you're looking at these girls who Facetune themselves or Photoshop themselves, you're putting yourself in that you're looking at that unrealistic expectation? Or reality. To put that onto yourself, but in all reality, homegirl's not even like that.
Yeah.
So...
Exactly.
It's like she wants to be that just as much as you want to be that, but then you're looking at her.
Exactly.
And it's like, just hug and eat some ice cream. Because you're never going to win. So I was looking so hard at those people that I lost track of myself and my own beauty and my own worth. And then I didn't think anybody thought I was beautiful. And here I have homeboy and another homeboy, and they're like, "Hey, ma." Talk about sometimes, so...
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I had a friend show me a picture. She said that she, like, went out with some girls the other day before, and she was like, "Oh, I went out with this girl. She's, like, a model and everything." She was like, "She's a lot prettier on her Instagram."
Yes.
And she showed me her Instagram, and she's like, her skin looks flawless, and, like, she's, like, in a bikini, and you're just like, wow, looks like one of those Instagram girls for sure. But then she was like, in person, she does not have good skin. And I was just like, yeah.
And if you don't have good skin, I mean, there's many ways, and I can't talk on this subject. I've been blessed with good skin. Like, I've never really dealt with acne, but I have had friends who have really bad acne. So whenever I would talk with them and they would go through their skin journey, and they have good skin now, but it would take them years to get over that and years to kind of build upon that. So that's also an insecurity within itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah. And I don't want to say, like, bad skin or good skin necessarily, because skin is skin. I want to say challenged skin, because... the reason why also I say challenge instead of, like, bad or anything else is because challenges to me is something that you can, it's just like a wave that'll pass and you can get over.
Yeah.
It's something that you can get over. It's just a challenge. Bad has a negative connotation.
Yeah, you're right.
You know? And so that's something that I've been working on using the word challenging in my blogs and my podcasts and even just in life.
That's actually... Yeah, I'm going to start using that now. I'm going to steal that from you.
So, what is your favorite quote and why?
I guess I'd say my favorite quote is very straightforward, and it's more so just kind of being yourself, or be yourself, because there's no one other than you inside of you, and there's no one like you. There's no one other person like you. You can say, oh, you're similar to this person, but you will never 100% be that person. And if everyone tries to be like everyone else, then no one's being themselves, and we miss out on
exactly
the amazingness and the quirkiness and the goodness of each other. And if I try to be like you and you try to be like me, I miss out on being myself. I loved it when I was a kid, and I never thought about being anybody else, because it was like, why on earth did I do that? I mean, I'd understand, like, as an actress, trying to be like other people in the way of their maneuvers, and that's just how my brain works, because I've seen myself doing nothing other than acting, which is technically being another person. But I remember being a kid and just being Inde or being Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
And now as I get older, I'm like, oh, well, what if I didn't talk this way? Then people wouldn't think I'm from there. Or and it just gets tiring.
Yeah.
It's so emotionally draining.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd say be yourself, because you shouldn't be anybody else.
I totally agree.
What about you?
I think, well, to go off on what you were saying, I think that if everyone was the same, this world would be so bland.
Oh,
like,
jeez.
we need everyone to be different. We need people to live up to who they really are inside.
Absolutely.
Because one, not only is that inspiring to so many people,
yes,
but two, like, it's how you find true happiness and feel comfortable with yourself.
And it's you are 100% you. You can never be anybody else.
Exactly.
Truly. And it's really interesting. I'm going to make this point real quick and then we can move on. I was on a set and I was getting my hair and makeup done, and I can honestly say I was talking about this with my mom last night and I don't remember what set I was on. But I'm from a town that when I mention it to other people, they say that's the ghetto. I have never seen it that way until I moved out and I came down here, and I felt ashamed kind of being from there, only for, I would say, 5 minutes when this girl was talking to me. And then after that, I have never given a shit because I love my hometown. My hometown is Visalia, in between Fresno and Bakersfield. It is agriculture, it is fields, and I fucking love it. It's like 110 degrees every other summer, but I love it. It's where my abuelita lives, it's where my family lives, and I love it.
Yeah.
But I was on this set, and she goes, oh, what, like, the hair and makeup people try to make you feel welcome and ask you where you're from. And I said, oh, I'm from Visalia. And she goes, where is that? I said, it's in between Fresno and Bakersfield. And she goes, oh, honey, you probably shouldn't tell people that. And I go, why? And she goes, well, you know, and I pressed her about it. I was like, why? Why shouldn't I tell people this is where I'm from? She's like, you know, honey, it's just a bad area, and I don't want you to have that rep, like, in this business. And I felt so just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I asked her more about it, she was kind of just like trying to be passive aggressive, and she was just like, well, it's just a lot of the fields and you don't want people thinking that you're from that. I'm like, well, I'm Mexican. Would you like to talk more about this? And then she shut up. But for that split moment, my heart dropped and I just kind of was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Should I be ashamed that this is where I'm from? And where you're from is kind of who you are. It doesn't necessarily have to shape you completely.
Exactly.
But it is what it is. And I lived there for 13 years. So the mass majority of my friends are there. My family's there on both sides. So that is part of who I am. So you shouldn't be afraid of, for anybody that's listening that is necessarily in a quote-unquote what would be deemed a bad area or a ghetto area. It's not ghetto, it's where you're from, and own that shit. Don't be embarrassed that you grew up in the projects or wherever you're from, because my abuelito left his high school, didn't graduate, to go help his dad work. Am I ashamed of that? No. I will say that loud and proud, because he had my tío and my dad and my tia who passed away, but he has a good life, and I'm proud of that. So it's kind of just like, whoever's listening, just be proud of where you're from, and don't let anybody tell you any different.
In a similar concept, my grandma she would make me feel ashamed to walk around in like shorts and just a shirt, or just basically showing too much skin.
Yeah.
And it's like, as the same way that you can't control where you're from, you can't control having skin. Like, we all have a body. So it's like, don't let someone don't give anyone the power to have you feeling down about something that you literally cannot control.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And showing skin, that's a whole other topic to talk about, and that can be another podcast, or this can also be in this one. But briefly touching on showing too much skin, okay, what about it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm currently reading this book called, it's by Howard Zinn, it's called A People's History, and there'd be tribe of Indians that would walk around butterball ass naked.
Yeah.
Like, and it would just seem as though you'd be walking down the street and seeing a guy in a t-shirt and jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And they were stark ass naked. And they weren't even fazed by it.
Yeah.
So nowadays, this whole you need to cover your body, you need to not show this, you need to not... It's bullshit.
Exactly.
Because the society that we are living in is just now coming out of the era of, just think, less than 100 years ago, us women were housewives. And we're at home and with our babies and our kids wearing pencil skirts and going to dinner with Johnny and eating a milkshake at, like, that's not this time anymore. We're growing out of that, and people really need to learn that it's okay to show skin and that it's natural.
Yeah. I kind of want to say this. A lot of people's cultures and religions have a lot to do with this.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to say that, that stuff is bad, because it's good for certain people, but I think the aspect where people tend to take that out of hand and become shameful and shame other people and feel like they have the authority to shame other people because of their religion, that is where it gets out of hand.
Yes. You should... I'm a Christian, and I will say that loud and proud, but my relationship with God and your relationship with the universe is so beautiful. Am I going to shove my stuff down your throat? Absolutely not. Do I love hearing about your universe and about Pisces and, like, zodiacs and stuff like that and the crystals that you give me? Oh, I love it. So do I pray to the universe? No, I pray to God. But am I going to shame you for praying to the universe? Absolutely not. Did I pray with you before this? You were praying to the universe, I was praying to my God. Yes, and that's how it should be. And it shouldn't be, my God says that you shouldn't wear any skin, or you shouldn't wear any clothes. Well, what about those tribe of Indians that didn't necessarily have a God? That's not what I'm saying. But they would be out and be free and have fun and live life, and it wasn't deemed sexual. And when it did come down to that nature of procreation and having babies and having, or just having sex, because why not? It's having other people's opinions and having religion back it. That's what I don't support. I will 100% back any religion out there for being what they're doing, and just you do you. But when you shove it down my throat and say that I can't wear a tube top because God is gonna send me to hell, you can go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
I can't. I will not agree with you. Like, Adam and Eve were, but again, butterball ass naked in the garden. Why can't I?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go to Target, but
yeah,
just let a homegirl be proud of her body. And if a woman or a man is willing to wear less clothing and show more skin, that shows that they're confident, and just let them be. Exactly. I feel like the people who are saying you can't wear that are secretly being like, damn, I wish I could wear that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So is there anything that you would tell your younger self?
Oh, Lord. I have volumes of what I would tell my younger self. But mostly I would tell my little baby girl, Danielle, that... Oh, by the way, for everybody that's out there, my legal name is Danielle Fabiola Navarrete, but my nickname is Inde, so I go by Inde. But my little baby girl, Danielle, I would just tell her to be free in any aspect, not to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders, just to kind of allow herself to breathe. And I guess I could still tell myself that now, but in 10 years, I would be my younger self now when I'm 28. And I'd probably still tell my younger self, just be free. And that can go with don't care as much, or don't carry so much on your shoulders. Just be free. Don't allow anything to hold you back.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
I'm gonna get that tattooed on me.
Be
Watch.
free.
I'm going to. Oh, Jesus.
Should.
I'm going to.
Should.
We should go do that.
I'm down.
Should I look up when tattoo shops close? No. Continue.
So, touching on this subject, I think what I would tell my younger self to let go of the stress and just let the pain come, feel the pain, let it pass, and that, like I always say, life comes in waves, and that this too will pass. And just to remember that, and remember that I feel like adolescence is the hardest time of our lives.
Absolutely.
Like, the hardest. Like, really, though. So much control over you. You don't even know yourself yet. Your body's still growing.
And especially if you're born into a situation that you didn't choose.
Exactly. So it can all be really, really overwhelming. And I mean, really want to share out there that if you are an adolescent, you are in the hardest time of your life. Give yourself some slack. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay.
Absolutely.
So, how do you cope with challenges and body image challenges now?
Challenges now, I'm still in the learning phase of trying to figure out what to do. But recently I've learned just to get it out. And I have a friend named Inde N, and he told me that you should look at negative thoughts as clouds. Recognize them, notice that they're there, but they'll pass. And just know that they'll pass, and just shoo them away. And I've never seen it as that, and after he said that to me, I was like, wow, whether or not this resonates with anybody listening, but it resonated with me, and I was like, wow, that's actually really smart, because sometimes you tend to dwell on those negative thoughts and you let them sit there and you let them consume you. So just allowing that just to pass right on. So I think it's really easy to say, just forget it. Super easy to say that. But to let it out, I'm an artist, so I will paint, or I love driving. So I will drive in my car Cricket, and I will literally go up, do the PV drive, and then come back down. And if that doesn't work, I'll listen to my music, or I'll write. I have journals, and I'll just sit there and write, because I love looking back on 5 months ago when I thought that my life was going to end.
Yeah.
And I say that in a light way, but I really thought I was done. And reading that, and then seeing how far I have gone within just a 5-month period.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that's insane.
Exactly.
So I like to document that. So I recommend just finding an outlet or multiple outlets, because sometimes one won't work or won't work as well. And especially working out, I know how cheesy, I guess you could say, that is, but endorphins are so good and so real, and it's physically and scientifically proven that your body will.
Yeah.
If you give it the right nutrients and the right amount of exercise and the right amount of love, your body will just grow.
And it's also important to touch on, and I don't think a lot of people know, your gut health has a direct correlation to your happiness.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I totally recommend everyone to look that up.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned the cycle of being fake confident. Could you explain that?
So I have this way where I call it fake confidence, because there's a saying of fake it till you make it. And to me, that's kind of yes, but no. And I think that if you feel the need to fake confidence, that you have to sit down with yourself and realize why you have to fake it and why you don't have it. And I don't believe that confidence is a personality trait that every other person has, or you're shy, or you're confident, or you're this, or you're that. I think it's about security in the way that you make yourself feel. So I have this thing where it's a fake confidence cycle, where you feel the need to be fake confident, so you have some validation from others, because whenever you're confident, you draw in other people, and people notice that, and they give you somewhat of validation because you are confident. And then that will last a minute until some little tiny thing pops back up into your mind, and then suddenly you're insecure again, because you never really dealt with the problem in the first place. So for me, that is just kind of the cycle of that, and you will always go back to that if you don't sit down and actually deal with the problem.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to, the saying fake it till you make it, it's important to sit down and actually realize, why am I insecure? Why do I feel this way? Is it my body? Is it the way that I look? Is it what I'm eating? Is it the way that I feel? Is it the people that I'm surrounding myself with? Is it the environment that I'm in? Is it because I've been watching Netflix all fucking week and you haven't gone out and actually seen light? So there's so many aspects to it, and it's little things, because I'll tell everybody here, last night I called Kaelin and we were talking about what we were going to talk about in this podcast, and I got my wisdom teeth taken out about a week ago, and I was staying home and I was taking these pharmaceutical drugs, and I was staying inside the house, and I didn't leave the house for, I would say, 72 hours because my mom just wanted me to rest. And I thought I was going to lose my damn mind. I was depressed and I was tired and I didn't want to get up and I just didn't feel like doing anything, and I couldn't look in the mirror. I was wearing sweatpants. I just did not. I was not feeling good, and I was telling you about this last night. But just going out today and going to Los Angeles with my mom and getting all of my stuff done and going to lunch, talking to my agent, and just kind of being out. Oh my God, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane just getting out by itself. And then we're going to go to the gym later, which will help. But just doing that within itself helps a lot. So sitting down, realizing last night, talking to you about many reasons why I could possibly have been depressed, and then talking, getting it all out today, I feel better.
I'm glad.
So it's you have to assess the problem, and don't get me wrong, it's not going to be done like that. It's not going to be like, oh my God, you're so happy.
Overnight.
No. But you can know that there's a problem, learn and recognize it, and then be like, okay, we're going to deal with each other.
Yeah.
And then work for it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't actually want to admit that there is a problem, whether it be like a substance abuse, that they don't love themselves, that anything, that they don't want to recognize that there's a problem because they want to be like always perfect or always okay. And I just want to say that it's okay. It's really, really, really okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I support it. And I invite you to not be okay sometimes, because that's the only way that you'll grow.
That's the only way that you learn about yourself, is when you're put in situations like that.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's okay to not be okay. Feel your emotions, feel your feelings, and talk about it. And if you don't have anyone to talk about it with, then write it down. Film yourself talking about it. Any outlet that works for you, just do that. So, this is our last question.
Ooh.
What does the universe mean to you?
You and I talked about this, and I touched on this earlier, that my religion is God, but the universe to me is so vast, and there's so much out there that if you think about it, we're so incredibly small.
Yeah.
With how much importance and stress that we put on ourselves and our lives and our other people and the way that we look, we are so just tiny in this world. And so the universe to me kind of just reminds me of that.
Yeah.
So
I like that a lot.
It whenever I think, I'm, as my mom would say, because she's Australian, is you're getting too big for your britches. So to me, it's kind of like you're getting in your own head, you're being too big, you're thinking you're the shit, but in all reality, you're not. You're so tiny in this vast world, in this vast universe, in this vast galaxy, that just be free. You don't just let it go, homegirl.
Yeah.
Knock it out of the park.
They say if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it.
Exactly. And if it does matter in 5 years and you stuck 5 years working on this, you need to fix something.
Change your perspective on it.
Just go back, realize what the fuck is missing, fix it, and then go on.
Yes. Yes. Do you have any last words that you'd like to say?
For anybody that's listening, whether you're a boy or a girl, or you don't really identify as anything, just be free. We're in a world where everything matters so much, and the things that should matter the most to you are the things that are important to you, and you should really pick and choose what is important to you, because they will ultimately shape who you are. So your beliefs and your values and your morals are what are going to matter. We're all going to die anyways. I know how morbid that is, but we're all going to be 6 feet underground in a casket. So whether or not you are the poorest person in the world and the happiest person on the world and the richest person and the saddest person, just know that what's important to you will ultimately shape who you are. So if you're hanging around a group of friends that you think are cool, that are doing things that you're not necessarily comfortable with, be around a tribe of people that make you feel comfortable and secure within yourself. Because striving for validation from others, and this is something from Kaelin, I can't say it as though it's from myself, but striving for validation from others, you're going to be pulling from an empty cup, and then ultimately you're not going to have anything for yourself. You want your cup to be so full and overflowing so that you can pour into others, that you're so okay with yourself and your self-worth and your love and your body and the way that you are in your mind, that you are able to be that light that other people look at and say, wow, I wish, or I want to be like that. So your positivity and your light that you bring into the room will make a dark person, and dark I mean within your heart, realize that there's more to life than just being sad all the time.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We're in an age where people don't care, and it's so important to care. It's important to care about the right things, and it's important to care about the way that you are and the way that you see yourself. It's important. So to anybody out there, just know that it's okay to care. And if people are saying that you care too much, or that you shouldn't care as much, please care, because if no one cares, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
It's important to care. So those are my last words.
So do you want to share like your Instagram or social media?
Yeah. Social media will always be my name, and that's INDE and then a period and then Navarrete, which is NAVARRETTE. Or if I end up changing it, it'll probably be INDE XOXO. But other than that, it's usually my first and last name.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, Inde.
Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast today as much as I enjoyed filming it. I really do feel that body positivity is extremely important, and it affects all areas in your life. So I really do wish the best for you guys in your body positivity journey. Just love yourself. There's nothing more important than that. And have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. I post podcasts every first and third Fridays of the month, and blogs every Mondays. So tune in, and I love you, and have a great rest of your day.